LivingEmunah, book number 2 by Rabbi David Asher, part 9. Hashem is always listening. Parashat Vechanaim begins med I implored Hashem. From Midrash Shmuel 4 and 1 tell us that Moshe recited 515 prayers asking Hashem to be allowed to enter Eretz Israel. If he would have prayed just once more, Hashem would have granted his request. The Midrash comments that some tefillot are answered after 40 days, some after 20 days, some after 3 days, and some immediately. The Midrash concludes by citing Rabbi Chaya Rabbah as saying that one should never stop praying because there is a time when your request will be granted to you. People sometimes think, I've been praying for years and nothing has changed. I should just give up. We should never give up, even if it does not appear as though our prayers accomplished anything. Each and every one was heard and brought us closer to our desired goal. We might draw a comparison to a 2-foot thick wall into which one wants to insert a window opening. Each day he ships a centimeter or so of the wall. After a month and a half of shipping, the room is still pitch black, and it does not appear as though he accomplished anything. If he continues for just another couple of weeks, the room will be filled with light. Then he will recognize the value of every ounce of effort that he invested in the undertaking. The same is true of prayer. Each and every prayer we recite makes a dent, and eventually we will see the fruits of our labor. Additionally, we must realize that sometimes we require 10 years of prayer to obtain what we want, while something else we need could take just a prayer or two. There is no reason to feel discouraged when our prayers seem ineffective. This does not mean Hashem is not listening. It is very possible that in some other area of our life, prayers will be answered right away. A woman told me that she experienced this firsthand. Every day she has a phone conference with a few friends reading a few pages from a book. One day during her conference, she read that we are supposed to ask Hashem for help that we need in any area of life. We should be praying not only for our major needs, such as shidduchim, health, and livelihood, but even for our more trivial needs. This woman had always assumed that we should not be bothering Hashem, as it were, with the little things in life, and was surprised to learn that, to the contrary, Hashem always wants to hear from us and is never bothered by our pleas for help. She therefore decided to begin praying to Hashem to help her with the squirrel problem that she had been dealing with for over 15 years. She had squirrels all over her front porch and yard, and they would continually scratch in the walls of her house. The woman and her husband had brought in numerous squirrels experts, but no one had been able to solve the problem, and the squirrels kept multiplying. Eventually, several years ago, they gave up and resigned themselves to the fact that they would have to live with the squirrels. A few days after she prayed to Hashem to get rid of the squirrels, she no longer heard them scratching. It was a miracle. They suddenly disappeared. They had no idea what happened. Shortly thereafter, her husband was walking to the synagogue when he saw a man looking with interest up at a tree. The man invited the husband over the watch, and they saw a bird. You see that bird, the man said? It kills squirrels and eats them. The husband couldn't believe it. He told his wife what the man had said, and later that day, as the woman was sitting on her porch, she saw a bird with huge claws land on top of the railing to the porch. Frightened, she ran inside and watched from the window. Suddenly, the bird swooped down to the front yard and killed a squirrel. The woman couldn't believe what she had just witnessed. She wondered how she is going to get rid of the dead squirrels on her property. And then the bird came back 2 minutes later and took the dead squirrel away. She later found out that this bird was a hawk. She had been living in that neighborhood in Muncie for years and had never before seen a hawk. Hashem took care of her problem right away and even showed her how it was done. I have been praying for other things for years, she said, and at times I couldn't help but think that Hashem does not want to listen to me. Now I see that He always hears us. We need to strengthen our resolve to pray and continue talking to Hashem and asking Him for everything we need. He hears every word and every single prayer's help.